All right, aloha everybody, and welcome friends and farmers. We're so happy to have you here tonight. So before we get started, I would love to know who is tuning in. Go ahead and drop a one in the chat if you're a current Hawaii Farmers Union member or if you've been to any of our webinars, and put a two if you're joining us for the first time. And while you're there, go ahead and include which island and community you're tuning in from. Love it. So many awesome and great familiar friends and names in the chat. So thank you all for joining us. So, for those of you who are new to the Hawaii Farmers Union, HFUU, we're really here to support local agriculture across the state, helping with education, technical assistance, and community connections. And whether you're an established producer or just getting started, or simply passionate about supporting local agriculture, you're truly in the right space. So, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Miley Woodhull, and I'm the Organic Technical Assistant Specialist with the USDA Transition to Organic Partnership Program, also referred to as TOPS. We're in partnership with Hawaii Farmers Union and CCOF, or California Certified Organic Farmers. Now, through this program, we provide free technical assistance to producers across the state, helping them with certification, record keeping, conservation, grant planning, mentorship, and so much more. So I'll be sure to go ahead and drop my contact information in the chat and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. So tonight's topic is one that I'm especially excited about because financing plays such an important role in helping people to truly achieve like their goals and dreams. And whether that's buying your first home or purchasing farmland or growing an agriculture operation, you're really in the right space. So before we begin, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping and to let you guys know that we'll be doing Q&A at the end. So please go ahead and save those questions and then we can drop them in the chat and we'll review them during that session. And before we get started, I do have a quick update. We're excited to be hosting American Ag Credit tonight with our keynote speaker, Linus Tavares. Unfortunately, Linus did have something come up and can't be able to jump on until 5:30. But we're especially thankful that one of my dear friends, Jamaica, Kansas, with NFN Lending, generously agreed to step in and fill that slot. Jamaica, thank you so much. I definitely put you on the spot today, and I really appreciate you coming and stepping in and helping us. And actually, I feel like this kind of worked out for the best because tonight you're going to get to hear two very different perspectives when it comes to lending. Jamaica is going to share a little bit more about residential lending, including home financing and first-time home ownership, while Linus is going to cover more of like agricultural lending and financing for farms and farm equipment. But either way, I really hope that tonight's presentation helps you to better understanding financing options and how you can better achieve your goals and dreams and becoming a homeowner or a farm owner here in Hawaii. So again, Jamaica, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And
Thank you.
floor is yours.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Jamaica here with NFM Lending. I'm a local girl born and raised on the Big Island, and I've been in the real estate industry for some time, a licensed realtor as well as a loan officer for the last 13 years with NFM Lending. And I'm here to be a resource to guide and help you through ownership of real estate, whether it's your first farm, your second farm, or your first home or an investment condo. Across the board, we have financing available for all things. So, if it's part of a goal or dream of yours to own real estate, whether it's on island or throughout the United States, I can be a resource and a tool to help you accomplish those dreams. So, I'm just going to give you more of a summary and a general overview on what you can look forward to if it's something that you want to be part of or goals in the next 6 to 12 months. It's always good to talk to a professional like myself within 6 to 12 months of homeownership or planning out so you guys can have the right tools and accomplish your dreams with the plan forward, because sometimes it can happen in 45 days, but sometimes it takes 6 to 12 months depending on down payment, credit, and what you're looking to do. So I'll first start off with just general Down payment questions. It's a big myth. Do you need 20% to buy real estate? No, you do not need 20% down. We have first-time home buyer programs, 100% financing programs, down payment assistant programs. So it ranges from no down payment to as much down payment as you have. So there is different buckets to be able to fit in depending on what your goals and what kind of property you're looking to buy, as well as income for yourself and for the property. So that's down payment myths that kind of a lot of people don't know. A lot of it too can be gifted, whether your friends or family or loved one wants to gift you a down payment. That as well can be used for purchasing property. So that's a huge thing as well. Um, and so residential is the biggest thing, whether there's 5 acres, 1 acre, 2 acres. House on it is primarily what I specialize in, anywhere from lava zone 1, 2, all the way up our whole island. We have financing available for all lava zones, as well as income producing properties and condominiums. So it's a big general variety, all the way down to construction to permanent product if you're looking to build your house on your new farm that you recently acquired, or just to build on something that you're looking to make your primary or have an investment property as well. So we're here throughout the whole state. Is my primary service area, but I am licensed in multiple states and throughout the United States. Our NFM lending company is licensed throughout all states except New York. So we can help you or loved ones throughout the whole country for that. And yeah, that's pretty much, if it's at all a goal of yours, I would love to have a 15-minute consultation. I'll put my information in the chat box, and I'll be on throughout the whole hour to be here to answer questions throughout if they do come up. And I'm excited to collab with the ag credit that's going to go right behind me. But yes, I'm here on the more residential side, and looking forward to meeting you and helping you if home ownership of real estate is a goal of yours. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamaica. So if you guys do have questions, go ahead and feel free to drop those in the chat. But I just wanted to kind of cover a little bit about that. So I know a lot of people, sometimes it can be nerve-wracking meeting with the lender. I know that you shared like the first step is like that first 15-minute consultation. Maybe you can talk a little bit about that because people have fear that maybe you're going to be pulling credit or they need to gather all their records just to come to meet with you. Can you maybe cover a little bit about what that initial consultation looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. The initial consultation is pretty much information that you already know off the top of your head. I'm not going to need W-2s or bank statements or pay stubs just yet to determine if you're ready. But we do initially, when the time comes to do an application, we do just do a soft pull on credit. We don't do a hard inquiry because it might be something that you're 3 months, 6 months, or a year out. So no hard inquiry, so it should not negatively affect your credit. And once we have that in an application, we discuss what your next steps are. If it is to proceed with your application and provide us with your income and asset document so we can fully give you your max qualification and buying power, that fully goes over monthly payment breakdown, estimated closing costs, title, escrow fees, everything that you would be having expense of through the purchase of the property that you're wanting to purchase. We go over all those numbers. So when it's time to shop with a licensed realtor, you guys are confident and knowing your buying power and knowing what you can afford. And that the initial 15-minute conversations just to discuss your goals, your dreams, what do you want to do and how can I help you accomplish that? Sometimes it's credit repair, sometimes it's down payment, saving and getting financial fit, because some people may be renting on a lower cost or living at home with loved ones and have the ability to save a lot of money for down payment. So it's more individual catered conversations on where you are, where you want to be, and I'm there to help you get there. So the initial conversation is nothing to be scared of. It's more to plan out what your next steps are to purchase real estate if it's a goal of yours.
Great. And I also know that a lot of people, it's like, as we talked about this, believe that they have to have a 600 and plus credit score. Can you talk a little bit about like what would be required for eligibility?
Yeah, so depending on where you want to purchase in the islands, there's different loan programs available. But we can, depending on that, it's a range minimum FICO score of 580, which is not a great FICO score. So that's why we do have financing available for that. So that requires um, higher interest rates because of the FICO score and depending on your down payment. So it's a big variety puzzle piece, pie piece per se. It's credit, assets, and income is the big three puzzle pieces. Credit is the biggest thing, but credit repair, there's no cost for me to advise what needs to be done. And then we can meet up every 30 days and make sure you're doing what needs to be done. So credit repair is more of a conversation and tips on what you guys can do to fix it because any credit, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, it can always be fixed. Most of the time, it's just time and sometimes money and negotiation with the creditors if there's bad credit that needs to be taken care of. But that's advice that I also give during consultation or pre-approval once we run credit.
All right, very helpful. And we have another question that just came in here. If you have zero down, what does that look like? For example, if you have amazing credit, how do you know what you would qualify for? Is there a maximum limit if you don't have a down payment?
Yeah, so there is some programs have income requirements or max income. Some programs for 100% financing do not have income limits. So that's what we determine what loan program best fits your needs. 100% financing, a lot of the programs, majority of them are based on debt to income ratio. And what that means is your monthly debt, so your installment loans, your credit card minimum payments, your auto loans, plus your mortgage is roughly anywhere from 45 to 60% of your income is your max debt that's allowed. And that's part of our qualification to run those numbers, to review your income and your assets and all that you have. And then we'll tell you which programs best allocate for you in your situation.
Okay, helpful to understand that. And then if we can just kind of circle back, because obviously we have a lot of farmers here viewing, but as we know, it's difficult to get financing for farmland. As you talked about, you really specialize in homes. Can you talk a little bit about that as far as them having to be permitted and what are some of the requirements for them to be able to actually get a loan if there is a farm component involved in it?
Yeah, so the farm component involved in it, if it's a fully production farm, it's a little challenging. So that's why for the newer farmers that are looking to do ground up all the way from seedlings or no seedlings to just land all the way up with a residential is ideal because it's supposed to be allowed for only personal consumption. So if the farm is not established yet, that's the best for residential financing as long as there's a structure that's legal and able to obtain insurance. Insurance is the big key. It needs to be legal, obviously, for county and building codes, but to obtain a loan, it has to be insurable. So whether it's legal and insurable is the biggest two tickets because if it can't get insurance, depending on the age or the condition or the roof age, then we can't get financing on it. But most of the listing agents in the market know that. So most of the time they prepare the sellers to do some rehab and or new roof before because insurance been cracking down on obtaining insurance
Okay. And
for that
what
to happen.
really makes you guys unique is that you will, as you shared, loan in different lava zones. Maybe you can just talk
Yes.
about that because very few lenders will touch lava zone one and two, especially here on the Big Island. If you
Yes.
provide a little more insight about lava zone requirements.
Yeah, in the past 3 to 5 years, Lava Zone financing has started to get a little bit more harder because a lot of the insurance companies has left the market. And so the insurance companies has been dwindling down to one or two companies right now. And so again, back to insurance. If we don't get insurance, we're not able to obtain a loan. So the biggest thing is insurance. So we do lend in Lava Zone 1 and 2, And again, that takes it down to having a legal property because there is some properties that are not legal and it's just vacant land. And so if I am not able to obtain financing for you and what you're looking to do, with me being on island and having the resources and working alongside Miley, we have the resources to send you to the local other professionals that can help you if I myself can't. So I at least consult and put you in the right direction and not just let you like, oh no, I don't do that. See you later. I at least guide you and point you to the right direction because I can't do everything. I can't do all types of loans. So there is a resource for every type of loan though, and there's an avenue for all things on island.
Okay, great. And we have some questions coming in the chat. They're asking about how about being self-employed versus fully employed. And I think that that's really interesting because again, that's what makes you guys unique is that you really are there to help like farmers and ranchers and fishermen.
Yeah.
So maybe you can talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so if it's a conventional, fully documented loan, we obviously take, sorry, somebody just showing up. We take 2 years of self-employed income. Hold on one second. I apologize, you guys. It sounds like the UPS truck is.
Not a problem.
The self-employed income is 2 years of self-employed income that we have to have on tax returns to do fully documented income. But we also have programs available that are no doc loans. So if you fit in that bucket of no doc loans, and go the non-traditional route, they're called non-QM loans. And we go ahead and just document it a little differently. You do have to have additional funds, but there are programs available if you're newly in the industry or you may write off all your expenses and you may not necessarily show that you make income. There's non-QM loans available for the people that don't fit in a normal, conventional, fully documented box. So we do have things available for those programs. But your standard conventional financing loan is fully documented via tax returns, incomes on paper. But we have loans outside of that don't meet those qualifications.
Okay. So the next question is records for some weddings whose income just increased and past tax records don't reflect current income.
Yeah, so the 2 year history is more to show that you've had a job and a career. We use the current income. So if you recently got a promotion in the last month, last 2 months, last 6 months, we show the increase and we can use that current income as your income as long as it's documented by employer.
Okay. And another question here is just also financing to purchase for leasehold land, such as like Kamehameha schools.
Yeah, so we definitely have leasehold financing available, but it all depends on the remaining terms of the lease. So that will determine the terms of the mortgage. So we do have them available. Just there are some leasehold properties that are getting down to under 10 years. So that's a really big mortgage payment for somebody that we have it, but can you qualify for it, right? So sometimes if they're offering an extension or a new lease, that could be contingent upon financing if it's under 10 years. So anything for, let's say you need a 20-year mortgage, you would have to have 25 years left on the lease. And it needs to have a residential property on it, which is a whole nother thing because there's not a lot of legal residential properties leasehold, but we do have them available if it meets all criteria.
All right, great. So it looks like Linus did join us. So before we transition over, how can everyone get a hold of you if they want?
I'll go ahead and put my contact information in the chat box. And if you looking to have a consultation, you can just go ahead and email me and we can set up a consultation. But I'll go ahead and put all my contact information in the chat box. I just sent it, so it should be there. So you can copy and paste it. It has my email and my website. But yeah, please reach out. And if you're looking for a consultation, no cost consultation, I'll have a 15-minute conversation and see what your next steps are if buying real estate is something of your goals.
Wonderful. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Shamika. Again, we really appreciate you stepping in and helping us
Oh,
out.
thank you so much for having me. I'll hang out throughout and uh check it all out myself too. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, and if you guys have additional questions, feel free to drop them in the chat and we'll review them at the end during Q&A. I know there was other questions if this is going to be recorded. So of course, all of our webinars are recorded and accessible through YouTube. So feel free to catch these afterwards. We also will be sending out Jamaica's contact information for our participants. So feel free to reach out to her directly. All right, so with that said, we're thrilled to have Linus Tavares joining us with American Ag Credit. They specialize in agricultural lending, helping farmers and ranchers with financing for land and equipment. This is one that I've really been looking forward to, so we're super thrilled to have you here tonight. Thank you for being here. And Linus, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, can you guys hear me?
Yep, coming in loud and clear.
All right. Thank you very much for being patient with me. There's some family issues that I had to deal with. I'm actually on Maui this week. There's the Hawaii Coffee Conference being held on Maui for the first time. So I'm over here for the conference, and I do a little bit of caregiving, elderly caregiving for my dad when I'm here as well. So I really appreciate all the patience and time. I won't be giving a presentation like with slides and everything. I'm just going to talk. I'm working off my laptop. You know, you get spoiled with having 2 and 3 screens where you can do all this stuff, and then when you don't have it, you feel naked. But I'll be able to cover everything and answer any questions as well. So again, my name is Linus Tavares. I'm with American Ag Credit. I'm the director of regional lending for American Ag Credit, and my region is Hawaii. So I'm the lead lender for the state of Hawaii. We have 2 branches, one in Hilo and one in Honolulu, but we do cover the whole state. Kind of, we have saying, have loan will travel. So we do cover all the states, and we do have loans in all the states. So American Ag Credit is part of the farm credit system. So the farm credit system, first of all, we're not a state agency and we're not a federal agency. We're private. We're a private bank that just finances agriculture. And agriculture is defined as the production of food or fiber. So if you're looking where you're just raising a horse for hobby use, that would not qualify. Now, if you're raising goats, sheep, cattle, those kind of things, yes, that qualifies. So we're part of the American Ag Credit is one of the institutions throughout the United States and Puerto Rico that's part of the farm credit system, which was started back in the 1930s by the federal government. And then we pulled away from the federal government because they had multiple agencies back then. They had the old Farmers Home Administration. And for those of you that are a little older might remember that. And so they had multiple organizations almost like competing against itself. And primarily we came about during the Depression to be able to get monies out to the farmers. Commercial banks at that point did not want to deal with agriculture. They were dealing with their own emergencies. So we originally started to help out the farmers. Now, slightly after that, like I said, we went private, and we've been in existence for over 150 years. We've been in Hawaii for over 55 years, and I've worked for them for 43 of those years. So I'm a long timer here. I'm originally from the island of Maui, from the Makau area. My family were weekend warriors. We call ourselves a cattlemen. So we raised cattle here on Maui for many years. My grandparents did the same as well. So and I presently have some cattle on the Big Island. I'm housed out of the Hilo office. We are the largest lender of agriculture in the United States. The farm credit system is, and American Ag Credit is the largest lender of agriculture here in the state of Hawaii. We have more funds outstanding than FSA, the Federal Loan Program, and the state of Hawaii, their ag loan program combined. We have more loans than them. We presently our volume is about about 200 million statewide in loans out to farmers and ranchers. The Our eligibility requirements are not as strict as the state and the feds. You can be a part-time farmer. You can be a startup farmer. You don't only have to be a full-time farmer. You don't necessarily have to have 3 years of tax returns showing that you are a farmer or a part-time farmer. Those are some of the regulations of the state and the feds. Under our regs, you don't have to, but you do have to show income from some source. We have a lot of people that the husband might be a farmer and the wife's a nurse, or they might be firemen and police officers or something, and weekend warriors. So we can totally finance those type of people against, as long as you show sufficient income to service the debt. Some of our requirements, though, is we like to see at least 2 acres in farming. So the largest piece of our portfolio is our land loans. That probably makes up 70% of the money we do lend out is for the purchase of land, and usually that's the first thing you have to do when you get a farm. So we like to see 2 acres or larger. They've got to be zoned agriculture, of course. We do have restrictions on the Big Island as far as lava zones. We don't do lava zones 1 and 2, and parts of 3 in the Puna district. In the Kona district, we can actually do up to lava zone 2 because they haven't had a lot of activity. But on the Hilo side, again, as everybody knows, it's a little bit more active, so we're a little bit more careful on what we can land in those zones. I'm picking this up from the last question. As far as leasehold land goes, we don't finance leasehold land for the purchase of the leasehold land. Okay, so regardless of the term left on it, but there are situations where we can land on leasehold lands. For example, if you have another fee simple piece of property, we could lend you money on that fee simple property and you use that money to purchase the leasehold. That would be an example. Another example is we have a lot of ranchers who are on leasehold land. We can still finance their equipment needs and say their cattle needs. Say they want to expand their herd and buy more mother cows. We can finance that purchase. Again, we do things that we're an agriculture bank, so we understand the needs of the farmers. You go to a commercial bank and you tell them, I need to borrow some money to buy some cows, and they're going to give you this look like you came from Mars or something. They're like, what do you mean finance cows? The commercial bank world just doesn't fathom that. But we do that all the time. And we actually use your cows as collateral. We might go out and inventory them. So again, we are totally agriculturally related, agriculturally focused. So we know your needs. The other thing we do different is we can set up your payments for monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. We try to tie it in to your cash flow. Example, you may be a fruit grower and you have your definite season. Well, if we put you on monthly payment, when you're not in season, you don't have the cash to make the payments. So we try to tie it so that, okay, maybe your season is from August to December. That's a typical macadamia nut or coffee season. Okay, fine. We'll make maybe semi-annual or annual payments, maybe an annual payment in February or March when you collect all your receivables, or maybe twice a year, maybe mid-season when you have some cash coming in and so forth. So we can be flexible. I mean, now if, say, for example, you're a flower grower, a nurseryman, you do have monthly income coming in all the time, we'd probably set you up on a monthly payment. Again, if you have a sufficient enough, significant amount of your income coming from non-farm sources, again, you might work just off the farm employment. We can go monthly on that as well, because you're basically not servicing it from the ag side. You're servicing it from your other personal income. So we're very flexible as far as that goes. Sorry about that. Um, so again, the knowledge of agriculture, a lot of our employees have agriculture backgrounds. So a lot of situations you come to us with doesn't surprise us. We've seen it before, we've heard it before. We can usually work around it. Now we like to see credit scores of 700 or better. So there'll be requirements there. The other thing is our lending limits are significantly higher. I think the state is either 600 or 800. I mean, and the feds are, I think, 600 or 800. So, in today's world in Hawaii, there's no land. Hardly you can hardly find land under $1 million. So that kind of takes them out of the equation. But saying that, we do work with those institutions because we do require 30% down. So that's, again, $1 million purchase. You're looking at $300,000 down. Not a lot of people carry that in their back pocket. So they might need to borrow a portion of it or all of it. So there's options with FSA, USDA, the feds, or the state where they can lend you the down payment for our loans. Now, when we look at that, we're going to look at it and say, okay, where are you going to get your down payment from? Oh, okay, I'm going to get it from FSA, or I'm going to pull out of my home equity line. We hear that a lot. So it's okay. We need to know your payment schedule for that loan as well. So when we look at your repayment ability, we're including our loan, we're including that loan for the down, and whatever other debts you have outstanding. So we're looking at the whole package. So you got to be able to service that extra down payment because now your loan amount is going to be higher. So, my recommendation is, a lot of times save as much cash as you can for your down payments. The more cash you can put down, the more reasonable your payment can be. We have actually 3 classifications of loans, divisions that look at your loans. So if anything, $1 million or less, we run it to what we call our retail sector. The retail sector requires less information. We're looking at 1-year tax returns, a balance sheet, credit score, and they run with it. They can once we get the application and information in hand, within 5 business days, they can give you an answer, yes or no. Now, we still have to do an appraisal. We still have to do title searches. That takes more time, but you can get an answer within 5 business days of submitting your application. The next level is $1 million to about $20 million, and that's the commercial level. And that's where I come in. That becomes my house, and you will be dealing with me directly. That area, we ask a lot more information. We ask for 3 years of tax returns. Verify all your savings and checking accounts and retirement accounts, whatever cash accounts you have. We're going to ask for some kind of verification, job verifications. We're going to dot the I's and cross the T's. A lot of times at that point, the business has maybe 1, 2, or maybe 3 different LLCs set up. We're going to want information on all those LLCs and verification of all those LLCs' assets. So it takes a little longer to analyze. So you're looking at maybe 30 days to get approval because we're digging deeper. Then after that, the appraisal, and title work. So you're looking anywhere from 60 to 80 days in that process. The retail side faster, 45 to 60 days, because again, limited amounts of information. Now the next level is maybe 20 million and above. I mean, we've done, not here in Hawaii, but on the mainland, we've done loans in the $1 billion range. So that's a whole nother category, a whole nother division of our company that's accustomed to handling those bigger deals. A lot of times, if we get into that sector, anything over 100 to 200 million, we might participate with other farm credits. There's farm credits all over the United States. American Ag Credit takes care of Hawaii, parts of California, Colorado, Kansas, all of Nevada, parts of New Mexico. So we cover all those states. The other states are covered by other charters, and they have different names. So we may, if it's a big enough credit, we don't want to take all that risk. So we actually will call in another farm credit. We'll even call in a commercial bank to come in and share that debt with us. This group may not ever get to that level, but who knows? I thought I'd just throw that out so that you know the different levels that we have. As I earlier indicated, land loans are our biggest part of our portfolio, but we also do operating loans. We do revolving lines of credit. We do equipment loans. We do crop insurance. So we do a whole bunch of things. Pretty much covers everything you need for a farming operation. I have yet to see a situation where we could not fit you into a program. We even have a rural home program. So now, say for example, you're not going to really farm, but you want to buy this house that's on 2 acres. We have a program for that. It's called Rural First. If you want to do a construction loan and build a home again, it's got to be tied to agriculture. So on agricultural land, we have a program for that. Separate from our farm program. It's more of our rural development programs. So, I can't say we can do everything, but a good portion of stuff on agricultural land we can look at. Again, we can't do leasehold, so that's one thing I can't do unless you have other types of collateral. We're kind of set up like a co-op. So all our borrowers actually purchase $1,000 worth of stock in their closing costs initially. And that makes them a stockholder in our bank. That gives them so we have 22 board of directors, and their terms fluctuate where we have, several openings every year. And as a stockholder, one, you have the right to run for board of directorship. Two, you have voting rights. So once you become a borrower, you can vote for the board of directors. And all of our board of directors are farmers because they're borrowers as well. So, and it can't be controlled because it doesn't matter if you borrow 10,000 from us or you borrow $1 million from us, you only have one vote. So the larger farming institutions cannot control us. Now, another thing that does is, kind of based on a co-op model, is you share your profits at the end of the year with your borrowers or your stockholders. So we share 50% of our profit every year with our borrowers. Last year, we made $400 million. We gave $200 million back to our borrowers. So it's been averaging about a 1% return. Last year, I think it was 0.75% return. So how we look at it is, and it's cut back to you in the form of a check, ACH, direct deposit into whatever account you want it, or if you want it to be applied to your balance, that can be done too. So like so what we do is a lot of times when I explain, I says, okay, our average interest rate as of today, I give a range. It's from 7% all the way to maybe 8.5% is the range. And the reason why I give a range is it's dependent upon your financial strength. The stronger you are financially and the better your credit scores are, the better rate you're going to get. You're put into a matrix and it kicks out what kind of rate you can get. We have variable rates, we have fixed rates. So, for example, if you qualify for a rate of 7.5, well, you're going to get 1% or close to 1% at the end of the year. So that 7.5 turns into basically 6.5, right? Because you're getting 1% in dividends. So if you just take that mindset as like, okay, it's 7.5, but I get dividends, so that that saves me some money on my interest. Um, so that's we do that, and that's different from any other bank. We do have also a what we call we don't have checking accounts or saving accounts, but we do have what we call a funds held account. So if you have a loan with us, you can put money into this savings account and you can draw it at any time, but you can only put up to the amount of your loan. So if you have a loan of 50,000, you can only put up to 50,000 in there. But our rates are better than what you're going to get at the bank as like on your checking and savings accounts. I think right now we're paying like 2.25%, and it's not a CD. You can take it out at any time. You can leave it in there, whatever. So if you're comparing that to other deposits, we have really good payment out on those accounts. But you got to be a borrower. You got to have a loan outstanding with us. As far as the breakdown of our commodities, we probably what we call fruits and nuts take up the biggest part of our portfolio here in Hawaii. And that's because we have tropical fruit loans, we have macadamia nut loans, and we have a large portfolio of coffee loans. So those all together make up a good portion. Then our next biggest commodity that we finance is livestock, cattle, sheep, goats, dairy come under that. Poultry operations come under that. So that's our next. Vegetables are probably third, and then other miscellaneous crops then follow. So those are kind of the breakdown of our commodities here in Hawaii. Now, throughout the rest of our region, we have a large portfolio of wine growers in California. You go into the Midwest, Kansas, we have wheat and corn and barley, and again, big livestock operations and feedlots and that kind of thing. And in New Mexico, we have big chili operations, pistachios, various different commodities. So we're very well diversified. Therefore, if a commodity runs into problems, like right now, the wine industry is suffering. So, but we have other commodities that are doing well. Cattle industries having record prices. So, we've done that purposely to offset in case we have problems in any one commodity. Let's see. I mean, I've been around long enough to see a lot of the changeover in agriculture. Saw the demise of sugar, the demise pretty much of pineapple. Those lands being available for diversified agriculture, and I've seen that diversified side grow quite a bit. So, which is good. Again, not having all your eggs in one basket. No pun intended. But it's good to have a mixture. So again, in case any problems come in, it doesn't hit the community as bad. The other thing is we're very active in the agriculture community in different ways. We give out two scholarships every year of $1,000 a piece. I think it's up to 1,500 now. And you'd be surprised the years that go on and nobody applies. So I'm reaching out to you guys. You guys got anybody who's a senior in high school and getting ready to go to college? They have to be majoring in an agricultural field, but please have them reach out to me. This year we're already done. It starts again in January, and we usually end disperse in April or May. So if you have any friends or family members that are going to college and need some help, please let me know. And we'd like to have applications and give them some money. We're involved in stuff like 4-H, all the different companies. Like this week, I'm here for the coffee conference. Last week, I was in Honolulu for a cacao conference. So in November, we're going to have the Cattlemen's Conference. Next week, I think, just came from a macadamia conference. So we're very involved in all the commodities. We sponsor booths. We helped out in the Lahaina fire. We gave some money to the food bank. Kona Lowe's came through and devastated some of our farmers in Kona. We tried to help out there as well by giving some money to the Farm Bureau so that they could distribute out to farmers in need. So we're also here to give back to the community, not just take. And yeah, I think I kind of covered everything. So I'm kind of ready for questions. So I see a question here about maximum terms. So on loans under $1 million, we can go 30 years. For loans over $1 million, we go 25 years. 40 years, we don't go 40 years, but again, a lot of times people mistake us for USDA, the feds. Like I told you guys earlier, we're not the feds. The feds can go 40 years, and I think the state can go 40 years too, but we don't go 40 years.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. I think as we've learned tonight, what really makes you guys so unique is that you truly will loan on agricultural land and raw land, which, as we know, a lot of conventional and private lenders won't do that. So we're really thankful for your services. We do have questions rolling in, so we'll go ahead and just go through those at this time. So the first one is, what about combining land and purchase and ag building construction together?
Okay, so what I usually recommend for those situations is not to do the two together. Do them separately, because if you don't know, you will find out that the permit process takes forever to permit these buildings. And I've had people that want to do this and they end up losing the land. Somebody else comes in, pays cash, and gets it. So I always tell them, secure the land first, get that done, then start doing your permit process, and then apply for the construction loan for the structure. But purchase the land first so that you don't lose it, or they don't start raising the price or whatever. That's my recommendation.
Okay. Next question here is 30% down required for all other loans, for example, for your equipment and operation, etc.?
Yes. The equipment, yes. Operating loans, a little bit different because it's usually, we're financing the crop for that year or whatever. So we're going to tie it to real estate, or either that, or like, for example, a nursery, we would maybe take their plant inventory that they have on hand. So you would have that kind of that 30% come in just based on your crop and inventory. So you wouldn't have to come up with the cash because you have the assets to provide you that 30% cushion.
Okay. Next question here is, do you need a down payment for the Rural First program?
Yes, the Rural First program, but actually I think their down is less. I think you can get away with 25% down, maybe even 20, but I don't think less than 20.
Okay. I want to just piggyback off that question, and just curious if you have worked with FSA or Feed the Hungry or anyone else that have helped come up with the down down payment?
Yes, majority of the help has come from FSA. I have worked with Feed the Hunger as well. I know those people really well, Eric Bowman and those guys. We actually all know each other very well. We're at these kind of talks together. We're on different committees together, so we all know each other pretty well. And I feel we work with each other pretty well. So there's also a guarantee program that the feds provide. I I used to be a big proponent of it, but I don't utilize the guarantee so much anymore, because it really doesn't provide any benefit. It doesn't. It's just they're guaranteeing our loan, but it doesn't affect our interest rate. It doesn't affect fees. It doesn't affect any of that. So you're really not gaining a benefit. I'd rather you you get part of the money from them, you know, and they can give you longer terms, lower interest rate, and stuff like that. So that would be the way to go. And like I say, I work with them all the time, especially FSA. I work with them quite a bit because again, at least they can go up to 600,000. Feed the Hunger can't go that high, but I do send a lot of smaller guys to Feed the Hunger. And like I said, we work together for the down payments and so forth. As long as they're willing to go in a second mortgage position, so behind us, if they don't want to go behind us, then we can't do it. But most of those guys will go behind us. They're fine with that.
Okay, great. Next question is what is the max terms? 30 years, 40 years? Also, you mentioned other states. Curious if Utah's on the list, or is that another sector?
Okay. Yeah. So we don't go 40 years, but anything under $1 million, we can go 30. Anything over $1 million, we go 25. Now, if FSA is coming in with the down payment, they can go 40. So you might have a portion on 40, which would lower your monthly payments. Utah is a charter on their own. We used to work real closely with Utah before, and again, they have charters, so they're only working in Utah. They can't go outside of Utah. They cannot come to Hawaii, or if they do, for example, if they have some guy in Utah that has a farm in Hawaii as well, they'll write us and get out of charter approval or out of territory approval, and we usually sign off on it. I mean, we ask them the same things from time to time. So, but yeah, we do have a farm credit in Utah. It's just a different charter.
Okay, so next question is how do new farmers get started?
My recommendation for new farmers is, like, again, if you're totally new, just starting out, one, there's a Go Farm Hawaii that has an excellent startup program where they teach you from seed to market, teach you how to grow your seed, till the land, deal with weeds, develop markets. That's a good program, and it's part of the University of Hawaii, but it's not part of getting a college degree or anything. It's totally on the side. They have a site here on Maui. They have a site on the Big Island. They have 2 sites on Oahu, 1 site on Kauai. So they're on all the islands. I would recommend, 1, go through them. 2, so what in their program, they'll let you farm like 10,000 square feet and get your feet wet with that. If you don't want to go that route and you feel you have the background and knowledge, I always recommend people to lease land first. Lease land, you don't have a big monthly mortgage payment. You can go through, 2 or 3 years and figure out the bugs, the market issues, the weather issues, the labor issues, all of those issues, figure that out before you decide, okay, I'm in it, I'm diving into it. I want to pick up some fee simple land. I've saved some money for my down. I've gained my experience. I can show them my tax returns. This is going to work. This is what I want to do. Then you go and you take on that mortgage and pick up some fee simple land. That's usually my recommendation.
Okay, great. And we just have some reminders here that if you're on Maui, Molokai, or Lanai, that we have our FAM program. And it's the best for beginning farmers. And while Go Farm also can help with cost and money, the FAM program is great and free. And we have other people that are participating in the current cohort. So be sure to check that out. And we actually have had Go Farm in the past, as well as some of these other programs that were mentioned, such as Feed the Hungry and FSA. So you guys can always catch those replays. I just have a quick question for you. You talked about leaseholds and workarounds. If they have existing property, does it have to be fee simple? For example, if they have a leasehold already and try to get a leasehold, would they potentially be eligible for that?
No, I mean they'd be eligible from a farmer standpoint and maybe from a number standpoint, but from a collateral standpoint, we cannot take the leasehold land as collateral.
Okay. And also for eligibility, if you could talk a little bit more about that as far as the requirements, like do they have to have a business plan or how is it that you're verifying like their plan going forward?
We'd like to see initially some type of business plan. Again, farming, that business plan might totally change from day to day, and we understand it. But initially, you should have some kind of farm plan. The Again, if a lot of your income is coming from non-farm sources, we're going to look at your tax returns, your pay stubs, and that's how we'll determine if you have the repayment ability. Because again, you might be a startup farmer and provides a business plan, but that's in our eyes that carries weight because we see where you're heading, but you're just starting off. Are you going to hit those numbers? You're still learning. So that's where we say no, but you have enough income from your other sources to back this thing up if things go wrong. So we like to see that non-farm income. The other government agencies, they'd rather you just be full-time farmers. And they are actually, you should be coming to us first because the government agencies are actually the lenders of last resort. Yeah, their rates are better, their terms are longer, but again, they're limited in what they can lend. But government agencies aren't there to compete with commercial enterprise. It's just like having a restaurant and then you have the government opening a restaurant right next to it and having all these cheap prices. Well, the taxpayer is paying for it, taxpayers' dollars. So by right, you should be coming to us first. If we can't do it, we'll give you a denial. Then you go to FSA, then you go to the state. A lot of people can work around that and they'll go just straight to FSA. But again, we know FSA knows us, and they'll look at the numbers and goes, oh yeah, these guys wouldn't qualify under American Ag Credit, and they may give me a call and just let me know, that what's going on. So that's how kind of that works.
Okay, and I'm also curious if you take into consideration, say, like the farm has potential for other income, like there's existing house with a rental, or say there's a commercial component, or maybe they can rent out space or doing value added. Is that also taken into consideration?
Yeah, that's fine. It's just we don't want them purchasing the property just for that reason that it's got three houses. I'm going to do an Airbnb, and we're like, no, you got to do the farming. Those structures are great because you can put labor housing in there. We and if you end up renting it, that's fine. But we don't want that to be the initial purpose going in.
Okay. And then they're asking to clarify, can one get an operational or equipment loan for a farm that is on leasehold land?
Yes, yes, we can look at operating loans and equipment loans on leasehold land. We'll just look at other like say for an operating loan, we can't take the land, but you might have a bunch of equipment or inventory that works. A lot of times we do that with the coffee guys. A lot of them are on KS leases in Kona. So, but we can lend them for equipment, so the processing equipment, tractors and that kind of stuff, because those things can be moved off of the property, off the leasehold property. It's just you got to put 30% down because we can't take the land. Um,
And then we have a last question here, just asking if they can walk into the Hilo branch or if appointments needed, and then what should they bring to their appointment?
Okay. So yeah, I would call just make a call first to see if I'm in, because like this week I'm not in. I'm at this coffee conference. So if you come walking in, all they're gonna do is take your name and number and have me call you back. So I might give a call. Then you can come walking in. I mean, if I'm there, yeah, you can come pretty much come walking in. You don't really need an appointment. If you do set appointments, better, because then I can work around you. In case I do have to go out in the field to check some operation, I don't want to be gone when you're coming. So just give a call and give us a heads up, or email me. A lot of information can be done over email. But I do like to see the people in person. And through the process, I will go out to your farm and go see the farm or go see the property. The initial things, what I would bring is I would bring 3 years of tax returns. Again, if it's under a million, then all you need is your current tax return. But if you're like, I don't know, if we're thinking of this property that's 1.5 and we're thinking of this one that's 900, so then bring in 3 years of tax returns. Also have with you just your knowledge of what's outstanding. What's outstanding if you have credit cards or other loans, car loans, home mortgages, whatever. What your balances roughly are. Same thing with your checking accounts, saving accounts, retirement accounts. Have an idea what their balances are. It doesn't have to be exact at that time for the initial meeting, but at least ballpark. Um, and a lot of people come in and they want us to. You tell me how much I can borrow. Well, that's not how we work. It's you come in with the property you have in mind, and one, you can have the down payment, and then we can look at it from that standpoint. But we won't take your income and say, okay, you can afford this. Um, there are some cases where we might, but it's usually we want you to find the property first, because a lot of times, and this is kind of the fault of banks, all banks, that you know you just looking at numbers, you're like, okay, you qualify for X amount, but everybody's living expenses are different. Everybody lives at a different level. Some people go out to dinner every night, some people don't. um, some people like to travel, some don't. So it kind of depends on what your living is expenses are. I always tell people, okay, you tell me more or less the loan amount you're looking at. I can figure out the amortization. I can tell you what the monthly payments are going to be. And then you tell me if that fits in your budget. Because maybe from a number standpoint, I says, oh yeah, I can lend you $2 million, and your payment's going to be, 15,000 a month. And you're like, wow, I can't pay that. But your tax return shows you can. So, I like to throw it back on your lap and says, hey, what are you comfortable with? Are you truly comfortable with this? Can because I don't want to put you in a hole. I'd rather not make the loan than put you in a hole and we got to look at, some situation down the road. Now, the other thing that we have, I think we work, when you do get into trouble, I think we work longer and harder to correct the situation than most banks. In my 43-year career, I think I've foreclosed on 6 people in 43 years. And the only reason we foreclosed on those is basically they gave us the keys and they left. They didn't want to deal with us, or they didn't return calls. Always communicate with your banker, regardless of who it is. Keep that communication open. The more you communicate, the better chances you have to try and solve the problem, or at least give you additional time to solve the problem. Rather than going to foreclosure, you've got legal costs and everything else, and then you've got what we call the bottom feeders, guys that go in there and that's all they do for a living is bid on foreclosed properties, and they nickel and dime that thing. So I'd rather give you a 6 months extension and you sell a property on your own and get as high a price you can for it. So it's that kind of thing that we try to work with people. If you do rent, because things happen, people pass away, there's divorces, there's just medical issues. Who knows? So we're always open to try and look at the ways where we can help you out if it goes sour.
All right, great. Thank you so much for sharing that. So it looks like we went a little past time here, so we'll go ahead and wrap. But before that we do that, do you want to go ahead and give an additional plug or how people can contact you if they want to
Yeah.
work with you?
You can email me. You can call me. I'll put my number in the chat, and my email, and trying to see where I can put it. Oh, okay, I see over here.
Drop it right
Mhm.
there in the chat, and if not, we'll definitely be sharing your contact out with our
Yes.
participants afterwards.
Either way, like I said, I have a lot of people running around town, and they'll just drop in. That's fine too. But if you just do that, you're taking a chance if I'm in or not. So,
Okay,
um,
perfect.
but
And
thanks again for your patience and for waiting for me. And sorry about going over time.
it's okay. We're thrilled to have you here tonight. So thank you again for showing up. Before I bring us home, Ashley, you got anything else to share? Any updates or news?
No, I've just always learned so much, and it's been an honor to learn from. I liked the double header tonight. That was really fun. I feel like I learned so much. And Linus, you have so much knowledge, and great to see you on the different islands. And yeah, whoever asked about the FAM program, I put a link in there. It's a fantastic education program that the Farmers Union hosts, and it's free. It's a Maui County budgeted line item. So if you're on Molokai, Lanai, or Maui, you can learn how to farm from start to finish as a new farmer. So I highly recommend you look into it. And I also put links in the chat to the TOPP program that Miley has been coming up with these amazing educational opportunities every month for us. So you can watch all the past webinars. And this one will be up in about a week or so, and we'll email it to everybody too. So thank you, Miley. It's been amazing.
All right, thanks so much for that, Ashley. And then mahalo again to everyone for participating tonight, and a special thanks to Linus and Jamaica for being our keynote speakers. We really appreciate you guys filling this time and sharing your knowledge. We do have another webinar scheduled for next month for August 26th. We have Department of Ag coming in, so stay tuned for that. And as always, just thank you again to everybody and have a wonderful evening. All right, bye now.